Well, hello there. It's Monday morning, March 17th, and for March's vlog, I wanted to do a day in the life. So it's a quiet, rainy Monday here. The kids are on spring break, but we don't have any plans for them. They have their own plans, but the joy of having teenagers who can drive is that I don't have to drive them around anywhere. So I have a quiet day of work planned. The morning I've got a couple work things I'm going to bring you along for, and then we'll just see how the day unfolds. As you could see earlier, I don't know if you could see, but Lucas and I start the day. He's more of an early riser than I am, so he always comes out first and has some time to himself. And then I come out, make my boring oatmeal, and have my tea, and yeah, we start off the day doing the New York Times puzzles together, or he does them and then he helps me a little bit along the way. I've really gotten into doing the spelling bee. I like to do it all day long, and now Finn, our 18-year-old, he does it too, so it's a really fun kind of connecting point throughout the day for the three of us. We'll be like, oh, did you get the pentagram yet? Oh, how many words do you have? So I think it could be a fun thing to keep going when he goes off to college in the fall. It could be a fun thing to text about. But yeah, I like doing the spelling bee, the Wordle, connections. I actually got the connections today, which is really cool. If you do it, I got the purple one first, which I think is the hardest one. So I'm just going to brag on myself for a little bit. And strands. Those are the four I like to do. Sometimes I'll do the tiles one. Just if I'm trying not to be on my phone in a social media capacity. Anyway, you're going to get little tidbits like that from me throughout the day. But I'm excited to bring you along just to see what an ordinary day in my life looks like. I've worked really hard to make it so that it's a quiet life. Like I said, having kids who can drive helps tremendously. But even before that, we just have a less scheduled life than I think a lot of people have, from what I can tell. And that works for us. So I'm going to finish my journal pages, my morning pages, because that's also part of my morning, while Lucas is in the shower. And then I'm going to go get cleaned up and probably make another cup of tea, and I'll see you in the office for some work. Thanks for joining me for this day. I'm sure it will be, I don't know what it'll be. It's going to be very, what's the word? I'm still waking up. Casual, very casual. Yeah, it'll be very casual. So I'll see you in a little bit. So we made it to the desk, which is fantastic, with a couple minutes to spare. In last week's video, I shared that I start the weeks on Monday with two of my writing friends. So I wanted to give a quick introduction to them. They're cool with me filming, but I'm going to leave the audio out. Katie Lee is the first, and I'm looking at my phone not because I need to know who they are, but I just wanted to share their Instagram bios with you. Katie Lee is a writer who has written Somewhere in Between, the novel. Her work in progress is The Myth of the West, and every month she shares a story over on Patreon. Not only does she share this story, she shares her project notes, which have been invaluable. Oh my gosh, I need my other cup of tea. They've been invaluable to me, and I think you should definitely check her out, as well as Samantha Garner. And I'm going to pull up her bio because she just redid it a little bit. And so Samantha, all right, Katie is from Boston, but she's now in Kansas City, which is a whole other thing that she writes about sometimes, which is the culture differences are fascinating. Samantha Garner is a Canadian writer, inspired by Filipino and Finnish history, folklore, culture, outside characters, and negative space and reverie. The Quiet is Loud is her novel, and she's got a bunch of different things in progress right now. She also has Patreon, where she does, it's just for this year, and she's doing kind of literary mixtapes as the seasons go. Like, one will drop each season, so that means this week she's going to have her first drop. So go and check out her stuff too. I keep looking up to make sure that I am recording, in fact. So it is almost 9 o'clock, and we're gonna get to work. We work for about an hour, and then we chat for a little bit. I have a client meeting at 11 o'clock, so I've got to finish up a little early. So I'll check in with you after we write. But yeah, this is what it looks like. I've got some administrative to-dos and then a little bit of writing that I'd like to get done. So I'll share what gets done after the hour. I've worked through most of my admin to-dos, and what's left is I need to do some writing to get clear on what I want from all of these different places. After the last video, I realized, so much has changed over the last few years that I really want to get clear on my why for doing these different things. Like, I know what I want to share, I know what my overall why is, and I shared this with my Patreon community recently, that it's about sharing and validating quiet lives, particularly for women. Sharing quiet stories, my own, my fictional, etc., to help to validate these less traditionally shared and valued stories. I believe firmly that you don't need to You don't need to be super flashy. You don't need to be an overachiever. You don't need to do a lot in order to make a big impact. And when I say do, I mean, I'm thinking like hustle culture and all of that kind of thing. Small moments, and I hate to say smaller lives, but I guess I do in some ways. Like, are those of us who are not built for over anything still matter. And so our quiet existences that we have, because that's what our nervous systems need, they still matter, and there's a lot of value in them. So that is my overall, that is my overall why, is sharing these stories so that others can feel empowered to share them as well and to celebrate them as well. But when it comes to the nitty gritty of why for the Patreon, why for YouTube, why for this, I'd like to get clear on that so that I can keep my expectations in check. I can keep my responses to how things do or don't do, do well or don't do well, in check. Because again, I think we all have impact, regardless of if they're big numbers or not that we're being seen by, and I need to remember that. And so that's what I'm going to work on. I'm going to sit and write for a spell, and then I'll reconnect with Katie and Samantha before we go on for the rest of our days. So that's it. Okay, finished up time with Katie and Samantha, and I've got a couple minutes that I'm going to go get some water, have a snack, and prepare for my time with Teresa, who I will share. I think what I'll do is I'll share a voiceover, otherwise this will get way too long. But, so this is a corner in our bedroom, and it gets super cold, so I don't know if you could see, but I was using this lovely shawl that's as big as a blanket, and it's super special. My friend Jess, who is Wandering Stitches here on YouTube, she was my first friend that I made, like real friend that I made in Maine. We met on Instagram years ago, but we meet at least once a month to hang out and chat and knit, and for months she'd been working on this shawl. It's, I think, the half and half stripes. I think she knit it out of Pearl Soho's yarn, the linen quill, and she'd been working on it for months, and she chose the color palette based off of a mussel shell. So there's blues and purples and black, and it's just gorgeous. So I've watched her knit this for months and months, and the last time we saw each other, she gave it to me because she just knows my connection with the ocean, and she said it came off the needles and she knew it had to be mine. And I'll get a little choked up because and I cried when she gave it to me because it's so special. As knitters and crafters, we put so much love into the things that we give to other people, and other than, I think, my mom, who's knit me she knit me sweaters when I was little, but she's made me countless quilts over the years for special things. There haven't been that many people who've given me something that they've spent literal hours and hours and hours and hours on. So it's so meaningful and so special. While I was talking with Jess the other week, she had a really good suggestion. So part of what I'm working on these next few weeks is doubling up on work, because we have family coming into town next month for 10 days. So they'll be staying with us, my brother and his wife. So for the sake of consistency, I want to keep everything going, but I can schedule out, I can schedule out posts on Patreon and schedule YouTube videos. So for those 2 weeks, I want to have videos go out, but I want to be kind to myself and make them kind of easy videos. And Jess had a wonderful idea. She said, why don't you do ask me anything questions or get to know me video. So I need your help. If you have any questions for me about, I'm going to say anything at all, creativity, anything that you want clarity on from the last 2.5 months of videos, our daily life, any questions that might come up from this video, let me know what they are. Either send me an email or put them in the comments below. I'll put up another post at some point, maybe later this week or next week, just like a static post asking for questions so that I could make that video for you all. I'd love to know what you'd like to know to get to know me better. So I'm going to grab some water, get ready for the next meeting, and review some notes from last month for Teresa. And then, yeah, as the video goes, I'll do a voiceover and share a little bit more about Teresa and her work and the work that we do together. So, see you in a minute. One-on-one coaching is one of my favorite parts of work. I offer creative coaching to writers and creatives where we focus on your needs, from brainstorming to accountability. We focus on process as well as you as a person and what your motivations and heart's desires are in this work. I'm working with Teresa Robinson today, who is the creative, visionary, writer, and artist behind the Right Brain Planner. It's a planner, but it's about so much more than organization. It is an interdisciplinary, centering, and calm study in creative living in which the user creates a way to help get through life with the help of Teresa's printable tools and guides. It's phenomenal, and I hope you'll check it out. Her website is listed in the description below. Teresa and I meet once a month to talk about where she's at with her work, where she wants to go, and how she can get there. She's a verbal processor, so most of what I do is listen, ask a few questions, make some observations, connect a few dots if I can, and take copious notes. At the end of our call, I work up an email to share with Teresa, which includes all the notes I've taken and the goals she decided on for the next month. Teresa has shared that these notes are one of the biggest benefits of our time together, and it's been incredible on my end to see how her process, self-talk, and work in general has changed since we started working together. If any of this sounds interesting, my website is also in the description. Not to sound too salesy, but you can book a free 30-minute call with me to discuss how I might be able to walk alongside you on your journey. I also host group calls on my Patreon where we co-work for an hour, and then there's a mini group session after, which includes some brief optional coaching. How do you spell heathen?
How do you spell what?
Like, isn't heathen? Oh, it's heathen.
Yeah, heathen.
With an A, right?
Yeah, I think it has an A.
These are hard, Finn.
Yeah, this one's hard. I haven't gotten many today.
How many do you have?
13.
Oh, I've only got 4 and I'm struggling big time.
Oh, sorry.
standing here in Upper Field and said, oh, it sounds like there's a stream. This is not generally a stream, but there's so much snow melt right now that there is a pretty steady stream of water. Oh, there's a whole puddle down in Lower Field. Let's go check it out. So now we're walking down into Lower Field, and it's not puddles, there's like lakes. Oop, I'm getting stuck. Wowzers. There's the stream. Wow, it's just all water.
This was all not here yesterday.
Yeah, this was not here yesterday. I don't know that we can really make it across unless we had a canoe. So we'll walk back up where we came from. Wow. All right, Darcy, we're gonna go back that way. We go up? Girl. What's really cool is you can see how the fog is just hovering right over wherever the snow is left. So not only is there mud to show that it's spring and snow, there's also a really lovely smell of skunk in the air. Darcy, come on back. Or just stay put. Oh, honey. So Darcy has been skunked. That was so rare. Let's get home. Come on. I think our whole day has changed.